Ridgeview Apartments looked ordinary during the day: brown brick walls, narrow balconies, and a flickering neon sign that buzzed like an insect. But at night, the building felt hollow, as if something had been carved out of it and never replaced. People who lived there avoided eye contact in the hallways, and no one ever waited for the elevator after midnight. When Mark Ellison moved into apartment 3B, he didn't know the reason. He only knew the rent was low and his life was already falling apart. Mark was a late-night radio operator for a small AM station, the kind nobody listened to unless they couldn't sleep. His job was simple: keep the lines open, answer calls, and fill the silence. His first week in the apartment was quiet, almost comforting. The walls were thin, but he never heard neighbors. No TVs, no footsteps, just silence so deep it rang in his ears. The first strange thing happened on a Tuesday at exactly 12:33 a.m. Mark was brushing his teeth when his phone rang. The caller ID showed his own number. He frowned, answered it, and listened. All he heard was breathing slow, wet, and familiar. Before he could speak, the call ended. He laughed it off, blaming a glitch, but when he looked in the mirror, his reflection wasn't smiling anymore. It stared back at him, eyes wide, mouth slightly open, like it had been interrupted mid-screen. That night at the radio station, a call came in just after midnight. The voice on the other end whispered, "Don't answer after 12:33. Mark's skin prickled. When he asked who was calling, the line went dead. He checked the logs. No call had come through. The next night, someone knocked on his apartment door at 12:33 a.m. Mark didn't answer. He stood frozen in the dark, listening. The knock came again, 3 soft taps, polite. Patient, a woman's voice spoke from the hallway. "Mark, I know you're in there." He had never introduced himself to anyone in the building. The voice sounded close, like it was leaning against the door. When he finally looked through the peephole, the hallway was empty. Over the following days, the building seemed to wake up. He heard footsteps pacing outside his bedroom at night. The elevator dinged on his floor even when no one was inside. And sometimes, when he lay in bed, he heard his own voice drifting through the walls, repeating things he didn't remember saying, unable to ignore it anymore. Mark asked the building manager about apartment 3B. The old woman's face tightened. She said the previous tenant, a man named Daniel Moore, had worked in radio too. Daniel had died and the apartment officially ruled a suicide. Unofficially, neighbors claimed he had been talking to himself nonstop in the days before his death. Arguing with someone who wasn't there, the manager advised Mark to move out before it learned him. That night, Mark stayed awake, watching the clock. 12:30 a.m. his phone buzzed. A text message appeared, answer IT. The time changed to 12:33. The phone rang. Against every instinct, Mark answered. His own voice came through the speaker, calm and amused. "You hear me now, right?" The room grew colder. The lights dimmed. The voice continued. "This place records us, our fears, our habits, and when it knows us well enough, it keeps us." The closet door creaked open by itself. Inside, the walls were covered in writing names scratched deep into the paint. Daniel Moore, and below it, freshly carved, Mark Ellison. Mark ran for the front door, but the hallway stretched impossibly long, the lights flickering like dying stars. Doors opened on both sides, and faces leaned out, faces that looked exactly like him, mouths moving in unison. "You answered," they whispered. The last thing Mark felt was hands pulling him backward, into apartment 3B, into the silence. Weeks later, a new tenant moved in. The radio station received a strange call just after midnight. The voice on the line sounded tired, afraid. "Don't answer after 12:33, it whispered. The line went dead.